need one, we'll get one.
Yeah.
What you reading? Oh, Daniel's done. Is it good? I'm Detective Davis, Kim Davis, my partner, Detective Homan. How come you're in here? Just out of curiosity.
For assault and battery with dangerous weapon.
Oh, did you kick somebody's ass? Okay, we're not here about that. We're not working that case or anything. We received it, we work in sex crimes, okay? And we received a tip. We're in the middle of an investigation, and during that investigation, a tip came across that you may have been sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer. Get a chair. Do you want a Kleenex?
I don't even remember what day it was.
Doesn't matter. Sorry. All she said so far is she didn't remember what day it was. We'd like to talk to you about that. And we'll take as much time as you need. I'm going to take some notes if you don't care. Do you remember? Can I ask some questions? Are you ready? Do you remember what month it was? Okay. Did you ever tell anybody? Okay. Can you tell me I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't mean this in a bad way, and I'm not judging or anything. Were you on drugs that day? Okay, that's fine. What were you using that day?
Crack.
Okay.
And I've been drinking. That's all I can.
Drinking.
What's that town?
East side.
Do you remember, were you driving or were you walking? How did you come in contact with him?
I was walking.
Do you remember what street you were walking on?
No, I had just left 16th and Jordan.
Okay. And where did you get stopped?
17th or 18th in Cape over. It was close to a park.
Do you know where that comes? Okay. I don't know the east side very good, but she does, so I'm going to be 18th near Kate. What time of day was it?
It was 6 or 7
In the evening. Okay, tell me this and it'll help me. Time of year, was it dark or was it still light?
It was kind of dark.
So that's going to be before daylight savings time, before the time change, or do you know? What were you wearing to tell me the weather?
I had on, it had just started getting warm.
Okay. So do you remember what you were wearing?
No, I had on some jeans. I had on some black jeans, and I can't remember what. I know I had on like a tank top with a jacket over it.
What kind of jacket? Like a coat or like a sweatshirt type of a jacket or something else?
It was one of the flannel hoodies, jackets.
tell me a little bit, you tell me, you left 16th and Jordan, is that where you were smoking and drinking? Okay. And you start walking where you walking alone?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how you got approached. Did he come from behind you, from the side of you, or from directly straight on?
It was from behind me.
Okay.
He stopped and asked me if I had ID.
Did he get out of the car to ask you that?
Yes.
And he asked if you had ID?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you?
Yes.
Did you have a purse, or did you have it in your
I had
pocket?
it in my pocket.
Okay. Did you give it to him?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what happened next.
He ran a check and I came back clear.
Did he run a check over the radio or over his computer, or do you know?
I don't remember.
Okay. Then what? Now, when he's running you, are you standing outside of the car? Are you sitting
He
in
had
the car?
me sitting on the curb.
Did he get back in the car to run you?
Yes.
Are you on his driver's side or passenger side when you're sitting on the curb? Okay. Then what happened?
And he started asking me about other girls that was working girls and stuff that was around through that area, if I knew any of them. And
Did he call them working girls?
he said, are there any, he actually said,
Was he out of
he
the
more
car?
or less pertained it like I was out there working, and I told him I wasn't. I was on my way home.
Was he out of the car when he was doing this?
Yes.
Have you ever been a working girl before?
Years ago.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I told him I didn't know what he was talking about. It's like there's a lot of people be out walking around.
Okay.
And he said something about with me always being in that area that I knew what was going on and stuff like that with the dope houses and the working girls.
Okay.
Where's he standing or sitting?
He's standing right in front of me.
So you guys are kind of face to face like this while you're having this conversation?
But you're still in the backseat of the patrol car?
No, I was outside of the car, sitting on the curb.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. He's telling you that you should know the area and the working girls and the dope houses.
Yeah. And I told him I didn't know what he was talking about.
Okay.
And he was like, well, if I had a female officer come search you, would you have anything on you illegal and stuff? And I told him no.
Was that the truth?
Yes.
Okay. I remember him telling me I can get up when I got up. He was trying to help me. I told him I can get up by myself. How was he trying to help?
Reach out to pull my hand to pull me up. I snatched my hand back because I've had surgery on my left hand.
Did he ever touch your left hand?
Yes,
Did it hurt?
yes.
Did he touch it too hard, or just did it hurt because you had surgery?
Because I had surgery.
Okay. So now you're standing. Was this whole conversation before that you were sitting and he was standing? Okay. So now you're both standing and facing each other? Okay.
Only thing else I can remember is him trying to fondle my breast.
How did that happen?
When during the contact did that happen?
After I had stood up,
Are y'all like still in the curb area, or are you in front of the scout car? Or?
it's right. I'm sitting on the curb and I get up and he's right here leaning up toward this passenger door.
Did he just reach out and fondle, or was he searching you, or did he just reach out and grab you, or? Is that because you were high? Now, when you say you remember him trying to fondle your breast, did he ever touch them? On top of your clothes or underneath your clothes? Do you remember what made him stop?
A car or somebody came out of their house or something.
Did he say anything when he touched your breasts?
No.
Did you say anything?
I just told him to let me go.
What did he say when you told her that?
I just remember walking across the park.
Is that kind of by your house?
Yes, in the opposite direction.
Where do you live?
I was staying on 18th and Everest at the time.
18th and what?
Everest.
Where do you live now?
Nowhere.
You don't have an Have they filed charges on you? Where are you going when you get out of here? Are you going to prison?
I don't know.
Okay, but you
Waiting
don't.
to go to trial.
Hmm?
I'm waiting to go to trial.
Do you, when you get out of here, do you have a sister, a brother, a mom, or a dad?
I
Where?
have a sister.
What's your sister's name?
Megan.
Will you get your mail like there, or what's that address?
Northeast 18th.
Do you have a phone? Does your sister have a phone?
Is that the address you're talking about on 18th and Everest?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's between Everest and Stonewall.
Right, but that's the one that you were talking
Were you
about.
going to? When did he ever try to touch your vagina or your bottom? Did he ever try to get you to touch him?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. When you walked across the park, did he just drive away? From that point on to, when did you get arrested and come in here? Of what?
July.
Okay. Between the time that he did this and July 8th, have you seen him again? You never saw him again?
How much time had passed, do you think, from the time this happened to when you got picked up and brought in here?
I don't remember. I've been trying to keep it blocked out.
Give me a description of him. White male, black male, Indian male, Mexican male.
He may, he could have been part Hispanic and white.
Okay.
No, he was real muscular.
Did you notice a name tag? Okay. How tall was he? And you don't have to be perfect, just kind of.
Probably about 5'10".
Okay. How much did he weigh?
Probably about 2 something.
And when you say real muscular, like workout muscular or just a big guy?
Muscular.
Muscular. Okay. Did he wear glasses? Did he have facial hair?
No, he didn't have facial hair.
If you saw him again, could you pick him out of, like if I showed you 6 pictures of police officers, would you be able to pick him out? What kind of car was he in?
He was in a black and white.
When he stopped you, did he turn his lights, the overhead lights on or anything?
Yes.
He did? Were they on the whole time y'all were talking?
No.
Did he turn them off when he was running you? Anything else you can think about? What color is his hair?
It's either dark brown or black. And like a little slight gray.
Can you think of anything else about him that describes him?
Just the police car was one of the new ones.
And
The new black and whites.
like where it's all black except the letters?
Had you ever seen him before this time?
Yeah, he stopped me before when I was working.
As a prostitute?
No,
At work and what? What do you
I
mean?
was doing make ready on 16th and Jordan.
What's make ready?
It's remodeling.
How long before this contact was that contact?
Back in like, it was around March or April.
Of 2014? Did he run you that time? Did he do anything to you that time? So the time that he touched your breast was after March or April of 2014?
What about anything before that time?
I think it was another time that he had stopped me. Probably December or January. And that was like on the 18th.
18th and what?
Right around Fawn Shield. I mean, not Fawn Shield, and Stonewall.
Did he run you that time?
Yeah.
Are all these times, are you on foot?
Starting, so is this gonna be the first time you've ever come in contact with him? So, from that time to the last time, was it ever discussed about, hey, I see you around or anything?
And he ran you that time, the first time and the second time and the third time, and you came back clear every time?
Well, one time, the last two times I had warrants and he told me to take care of them. And I was trying to take care of them, paying them a little money at a time.
So the second and third time, and the third time being the time he touched your breast, you had warrants? What were the warrants for?
They were city warrants, failure to appear and not paying my tickets.
And he just told you to take care of them?
Yeah.
But only one time he did something to you. You didn't tell anybody? How come?
I didn't really have anybody to call.
Why didn't, because this will get asked, how come you didn't tell the police?
I just tried to forget about it.
Okay, and that's fine. Is there anything that you can think of that might be important that I didn't ask you, or any of these times, 1, 2, or 3, did he ever search you and put you in the back of the car?
There was one time he put me in the back of the car, and I think that was the first time he stopped me. Because he had a female to come out and search me.
So the second and third time, he didn't put you in the back of the car? And he didn't search you? Okay.
How old are you?
53.
Is your, let me make sure I got you right here. 11,960.
There's gonna be a lot of questions asked. Because we have to answer some to the district attorney's office. And you're very young looking, and you've got a great memory, that's obvious, because of all the information that you've given us. Did you give us everything?
Then I got it.
That night, would you classify yourself, were you drunk?
Yeah.
Were you high?
And smoking, crack, and drinking.
Does it cause you to ever black out though, or hallucinate?
Yes. No, not to hallucinate, I black out.
We're very sorry for something you've come up against, and we're gonna.
It's embarrassing for us that we have to come ask you these questions and tell you when a police officer did that to you. We're embarrassed because we're police officers. But I don't want you to think that, I mean, a lot of people say brothers in blue. If he's out there doing that, it's not right, it's not appropriate, it's against the law, and we won't put up with it, and we want you to know that we won't put up with it. And I did not bring a card over here. I'm gonna put on a piece of paper my name and her name and our telephone numbers. If you need to call us, you call us collect, and if we see that you call collect, if we're not, then we can come over and talk to you, if you need to talk some more. Do you have any questions? I'll put yours.
to talk to you today.
Do you know anybody else that this, I know you didn't tell anybody, but have you heard out on the street or anything of an officer assaulting women? Haven't heard anybody else say anything about it? Do you have any questions? Something's gonna be done about this. Okay? We're not gonna put up with it. Okay, good.
That's good.
We take that, and just, we didn't put detective or anything on there, so you don't feel like you can't be caught with that, and you can't get in trouble for having that either with the jailers. You follow her, and she'll take you back. Thank you, Florene, appreciate it.
Well, wasn't that fun?
Oh my God. They're ridiculous.
They really are. Oh, God.
Now that they've fed her the story, do you have any questions? Do you want to add anything?
Do you want to add anything to what we've told you?
It was really interesting, that long pause in the beginning where she was thinking.
Yeah, she was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
She
Cash
was
register.
relieved it wasn't something else. And then
Yeah.
she's trying to come up with a story. You can just see her.
She buried her head in her hands. It's like, oh, what was that? Yeah, money,
Yeah.
money, money.
Oh,
Maybe I can get out of these charges I'm waiting on trial.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And like Kay said in the chat, in Kim Davis's police report, and I think we're going to go through that. I think we'll have time. We'll have time. I've done 4.5-hour lives before. I think we'll have time. But anyway,
That's not funny.
you're right. It's not
At all.
But it's like in the police report, like Kay mentioned, yeah, a little bit. She said half Mexican, half white, maybe. Phaedrax.
With slight gray hair.
With slightly gray hair in the front, yeah.
Just slight gray.
Yeah.
Well, it's very possible she might have been trying to describe Daniel, because she had been stopped by him before.
See, I agree, Susan. People make a big deal out of, she could have solved this problem by showing her a photo lineup. Well, not necessarily, since he pulled over and had contact with all of these women.
Right.
Maybe
So
they
that wouldn't
remember him and
Right.
would pick him out.
exactly. Which
So
wouldn't prove anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. But that slight gray she probably thought that was blonde hair, really, because the lights were on half of the time.
Yeah, the lights were washing us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That washes out and everything.
that that turns everybody's hair blonde. So, why not a little slight gray?
Oh yeah, no big deal.
This is a little bit out of context out of the lineup that Kay has prepared, but because I can't ever do anything the way we plan it, I always have to do something different. But I think this is really important. It's not a big deal. It's only like 7 minutes long, but I think it's a big deal. I think it's important to show it to you. This comes from a Tabitha Barnes video that I did probably 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, however long I've been on YouTube. I don't even freaking know anymore. But anyway, I don't remember why I put this Tabitha Barnes thing, but I put it in there at the beginning of part 2 of a Tabitha Barnes accusation. And I did it, and I said it was a recap of Florene Mathis, but I don't remember having. I couldn't find anything where I had covered Florene Mathis prior to it. But in this, like I said, it's not very long, but it's going to explain, and I have maps and different little fun stuff that I love to do in here to show you that the location where she said he pulled her over and assaulted her. Well, I'll just play it and let you see.
Let me ask one question.
So okay.
By the time it got to court, was that the only charge for her? Was he fondled her breasts?
As far as I know, I don't think there was any other charge on that. There was,
Okay.
yeah, because
I
she
think
sure didn't
that's
say
right.
anything. Yeah,
Okay. I wasn't sure if they got her to expand.
to expand. Not that I know of. And I can't remember, Kay knows better than I do, if he got a guilty or not guilty on her.
I'm looking.
I don't remember. Kay, you're very soft. Your voice is very quiet. I can't hear you very well.
Well, dang it.
Well, that was better.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this little recap thing that I was doing for whatever reason, it's going to explain um, some of what that video just said. So quick recap of Tabitha Florene Mathis. August 13th, 2014, detectives Davis and Homan went to the Oklahoma County Jail to interview Florene Mathis. She had appeared on Lieutenant Musney's list of possible victims of this police officer. Detective Davis said to Florene Mathis, she said, I told Florene I had received a tip that she may have been sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer. That was Kim Davis's standard line, pretty much, whenever she began to interview a new possible victim. Mathis said she doesn't remember the day that it happened, that she had been drinking and smoking crack cocaine the whole day, and that she had just left a crack house on Northeast 15th and Jordan, and we know that to be Tabitha Barnes' residence. She claims that she was stopped somewhere between Northeast 17th and Northeast 18th Street and Kate Avenue, and that it was close to a park. It was still light outside, but it was getting dark. And that's kind of typical for me. Once it's light outside, it does start getting dark. I'm just being a smart ass now, but it just kind of follows that's what happens. Light outside, starts getting dark. But she did claim that it was sometime around between 6 and 7 p.m. that she could remember. The stop, like I said, was close to a park, and she was not placed in the patrol car. She was asked to sit on the curb, and when she stood, the officer was leaned against the back passenger door of the car, and I just can't imagine that a police officer on patrol, when it's not dark outside, is just casually leaning on the back the door of his patrol car, just like hanging out. Hey. So I thought that was an interesting comment, that he was leaned against the back passenger door. She says the only thing else she can remember is him trying to fondle my breasts. Mathis says that it was on top of her clothes. Mathis told him to let her go, and he let her go. Mathis said she walked home. Mathis claims she walked across a park to go home. And now I'm going to show you a couple of images that are going to make you say, huh? So I don't know if I have a pointer on this little thing here. Maybe I do. Yes, I do have a laser pointer. Too bad T1's not here. I know how much he loves it. So this is Tabitha Barnes' house right here. This street right here is Jordan Avenue. Now I have these little police cars right here because These this are these is act blah, blah, blah. This street, these two police cars are the actual locations where Tabitha Barnes was stopped, or Florene Mathis was stopped. And as I go through these couple of images, you're going to see how completely far away from each other these stops are. But when you have the fine work of, Detective Davis and Gregory and Homan and Lieutenant Musney putting together a narrative for you based on, their AVLs and whatever other searches they do, all kinds of crazy things can happen. But these are the two actual locations where Florene Mathis was stopped. One of those stops, the first one was on March 25th of 2014, and the second one was on April 14th of 2014. But indeed, this is what happened, or what Mathis says happened. She left the crack house, or left Tabitha's house, and she walks up Jordan Avenue. And this street right here is Northeast 16th Street. Now, again, I think I've pointed this out before, but it was very confusing for me when I first started learning about the case, or this area. This is Northeast 16th Terrace right here. Ridiculous, because then it's just Northeast 16th Street up here. I just think that's ridiculous, but that's what it is. So carrying on from Northeast 16th Street here, Tabitha, or Florene says she walked and she turned right or north onto Kate Avenue. And this is Kate Avenue here. This street right here is Northeast 17th Street. And Mathis says that she was stopped somewhere between Northeast 17th Street and Northeast 18th Street, which is where she was headed to go home to where she lives over here with her sister. Now, she says that she knew it was near a park. Okay, well, here's a park right here. So if she was stopped, between here and here, yeah, then she was stopped near a park. But what's going on here? I have no idea what just happened. Then she was indeed stopped by a park. But then she says that she was, he let her go. He stopped her somewhere here. She sat on the curb. He fondled her breasts, and then she said, "Let me go," and he let her go. And she said she walked across the park to go home. Now remember, she's going home over here. The park is over here. So it doesn't make much sense that she would walk across this park any direction, no matter what it was, and then go backtrack and go home. Not only all of that crap, but there were no stops from Daniel Holtzclaw in this area at all that involved Florene Mathis, at least for Florene Mathis. Like I said, those stops occurred. The two times that he did encounter and stop her, those stops occurred over here by Tabitha Barnes' house. So I just wanted to share that with you. I just thought it was interesting how the stories change and evolve depending on, what the office, or what the, I'm going the wrong direction, what the detectives need it to be. So
I have a question.
okay.
Did Daniel's investigators check out if she had indeed been stopped at that location by someone else?
I don't believe there's, like I said, we're going to go through the police report. I haven't been through this report since I did that video over a year ago. So I don't remember if they did or not.
We need Cherie for this because she would probably remember what's in the transcript, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, she could be recalling a different stop, not by Daniel, but by some other officer.
Sure.
And not saying that she
Absolutely.
was sexually assaulted, but just recalling that stop.
That stop. And I'm sure that she was. I'm sure that's exactly what she was doing. But
Yeah.
she did say in the jail interview that she had been stopped by Daniel twice before, and
Three
she
times.
had been
Didn't
stopped.
she?
Huh?
Didn't she say 3 times?
Well, she said 3 times because
She
she's
said 3
including that.
times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's saying 3 times because she's including that one over there by the park. But she was legitimately stopped by him twice down by Tabitha Barnes' house, one in March and one in April.
Right.
So,
But I'm guessing she was also stopped at that location by somebody else.
oh, I'm sure she was. But that one I think is the one she could remember the most detail about. And so she decided to make that the one where she was going to make her accusation on. That's just my speculation, of course, because to my knowledge, we don't have any supplemental report or anything else that says that unless it's in the trial and they clean that up at trial.
Yeah, it seems to me at trial, her lawyer could have said, actually, this is who stopped you at this location on that day. It wasn't Daniel. You know what I mean?
He was found not guilty on her charge. So,
Okay.
they may well have done that. But in the end, when we look at her rap sheet, you'll understand that she had probably many stops to choose from and to also be confused by. She has a very long rap sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was hardcore. She was as you heard in the very beginning, she was in jail for assault with a deadly weapon charges.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
then Kim's like, "Oh, did you kick somebody's ass?" Say what you want about Florene Mathis, but she didn't even crack a smile. She was
Oh my God. I missed
amused.
that part.
Yeah,
She's
Christ.
smart enough to know that she's not going to say shit about that because she's waiting to go to trial.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not her first rodeo.
She has a huge, long rap sheet, and she's got like 10 aliases.
Wow.
In fact, when Daniel did call her in, something makes me think I think there's actually a recording of the call. I think we have that call because he does say he comes back. He calls her in as Lynn Gibson first, which is one of her AKAs. And then I think he came back. I could be imagining this, but I think then he came back and said, that he had to fix the name because that was an alias or something.
Holy crap, it's hailing here.
Oh, geez.
I hear it. Oh my God.
That.
That's not good.
Is the wind blowing?
It's hailing, yeah.
Go to the shelter. Go to your shelter.
Oh, God. I'm from Oklahoma. I don't go to the shelter.
Hey, I used to say that.
I need to mute my mic here.
There's lots of freaking tornadoes in Oklahoma already this year. So,
okay.
So let's see. We want to go to the what are we calling this? To the timeline. Whoops. What am I doing? There we go. Okay. So, Kay, do you want to read?
Hang on.
Okay.
Can someone else read right now?
Yeah, sorry, you're in the middle of a hailstorm, and I'm asking you to read.
I need to look at a radar.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, good idea.
I think that's a good idea. Susan, do you want to read?
Sure. Wednesday, August 13th, 2014. Sex crimes detectives interview Florene Mathis in jail. Interview was video recorded. Florene Mathis, acquittal. Allegations solicited 8/13/2014. Count date April 14th, 2014.
So I just now looked at that. That's really interesting because they used the April 14th day as the one of the 2 times. I wonder why. I'm going to have
And
to
what-
look close.
What did she say in that interview when it happened? I forget.
No, she says that she doesn't know. Remember what month it was. And then Kim asks her, well, tell me what you were wearing to kind of tell me, what the weather was like for the time of year. She said she had on a pair of black jeans and a tank top with a flannel hoodie.
Yeah.
And that's all she said.
Okay.
As for what time of year it was. And so from that little video that I just showed you, one of the dates was in April and one of the dates was in March.
March. Yeah.
Yeah, so they took the April 14th date. So Jack, do you want to read this one? Are you able to see it okay? Unless you want to stay muted, that's okay too.
Unfortunately, I'm stuffing my face.
Well, all right, Jesus. Okay, Susan, you want to read this one?
Sure. Wednesday, August 13th, 2014. Detective Rocky Gregory identifies a possible victim of Daniel's because Daniel has run her through the police database more than once. A phone call confirms the woman is a former girlfriend of Daniel Holtzclaw. This interview was not recorded. She dated Daniel in January to February of 2014. She stated she has no problem with Holtzclaw. He had no reason to run her name through Varuna. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Okay. Same day. On 8/13/14, Sergeant Hill sent me the ABL for Sherry Ellis from the different locations for Officer Holtzclaw for May 7th of 14 between the hours of 1:03:13 to 1:19.
Okay, that was the early I'm not sure why we went to Sherry Ellis from here.
This is a timeline
Yeah.
of events.
Oh, so the date. Okay, the date was okay.
Yeah, the date
Happened
and
on
the
that
time
date.
of the email come into order. I just put everything in order so you can see what's going on behind the scenes.
Right. Exactly. Is everything okay over there, Kay?
Yeah, it's calming down now. That was
Okay.
crazy. I thought the tree was going to come through the front window.
Oh, God. It was
It's
loud.
crazy. It was nuts.
Well, I hope that weather's all gone by the time we get there.
Oh, yeah, it'll be 500 degrees when we
100
get there.
degrees and 100% humidity. Okay, here we go. All right. Kay, do you want to read this one? Are you able to read now?
On August 13th, 2014 at 3:09 p.m., Rocky Gregory writes, I think you're hiding from me. We're still looking through everything. I'm sure you heard of the newfound victim. Found a girlfriend today on his workout team, but nothing there. This is on Holtzclaw.
What does that mean?
He's given an update to Musney that
The girlfriend.
because they've been instructed to find more victims because
Yeah.
the DNA doesn't match anyone. So they're in the process of finding more victims as Terry Morris signs on to be a part of the case. And now they have to work all these victims, which, it's a lot of work. They got busy and contacted quite a few. So now they have to work him and turn him into victims. He's just trying to tell him, hey, we're doing what we were told. We're finding more victims, except, the ex-girlfriend didn't have anything bad to say about him. Actually,
When he said this is on Holtzclaw, he just meant what I'm talking
About
about.
Holtzclaw.
yeah, he's just that's his communication skills. He doesn't understand to put Holtzclaw in the
Regarding Holtzclaw or something.
Right?
Put
Okay.
Holtzclaw up in the subject, and then it'll be really clear that it's on Holtzclaw.
Jeez.
It's just Rocky's style. That's why I call him Rockhead.
All right. From Stephanie Alexander. Oh, what happened?
That
Is that out of order?
no, this was the next one. that you
Okay,
had.
so from Stephanie Alexander to Musney, and then Jason Clifton was Daniel's supervisor. Scan documents. Attachments. Holtzclaw 6th, 7th, 8th PDF. I guess these are daily activity reports from, I don't know, I'm assuming the 6th, 7th, and 8th of
June.
June, or is it May, or
Yeah, it's pretty unclear.
Does it
could
say on
be,
the next page, or do we not get the activity reports?
No, let's
they're
see.
somewhere we don't actually have access to do
Yeah,
anything with
there's
them.
a lot of stuff that is supposed to be there that we didn't get.
Okay.
But it's just, it just shows you that they're they're searching for anything they can to try to make him look like a bad guy. All right. So Denise Wenzel to Rocky Gregory. Now you in? Not hiding, promise, grab Tim, which is Lieutenant Musney, and Kim Davis, and come see me around 8:30 tomorrow. So they're going to get together and get a plan going because they're working all these victims now. And they need to touch base and figure out how they're going to wrap up, because also now Ferguson has happened and riots are going on in Ferguson and have been since the 9th of August. So it's nuts. There's no way. And there's no, in any emails that we've seen, there's nothing about Ferguson,
No mention.
which is bizarre.
Yeah.
I think they know they need to get him in custody because, people might get restless with what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri.
Right.
Do you want me to keep going?
Sure. Yes, please do.
From Musney to Captain Ron Basie, see subject Holtzclaw. He
That's
knows how to do it.
so clear.
You're first to know. I'll tell the others in the morning. Today, Kim and Valerie went to the jail to interview another female whose name was generated from the Unit 800 list I made for Kim. She is now victim number 4. She's had contact with him on 3 separate occasions, and the last time he felt her up and touched her breasts. I'm not sure where he made contact with her. Her name is Florene Mathis. 11/9/60, black female. The first time he ran her through Unit 800
Last
was
time. Sorry.
14/14. We pulled AVL for that day and have now pulled all Unit 800 log sheets for 2014. I also have the 28-day forecast for Spring Lake's second shift to narrow our search through the boxes of files from Unit 800. We have a long way to go on this victim, but at least we have a starting point. If you need any information, call me and I'll try to answer what I can.
So this is the I want to just point out, I don't know if it is stuck out to anybody else, but he says here that first of all, he's just saying flat out she has had she has had contact with him on 3 separate occasions. I just proved to you, at least in the time frame that Florene Mathis was talking about, that's just not true. There were 2 contacts that they were able to find, but Musney's going to go ahead and say that there were 3. And the last time I mean, it's just, I guess they're just supposed to be like private emails, but whatever. But the last time he felt her up and touched her breasts, and so whatever, I don't know, I guess in a private email thread or something, that's fine, but it's kind of crude to me. I'm
And
not
we have a
sure.
long way to go on this victim. What the
Yeah,
hell's that supposed to mean?
exactly. Yeah.
We got to
Um,
make it work.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see that yes, because they've got to fit her in there, just to to make sure that they had to have known by this point that he didn't stop her where she says he stopped her. Like Susan said, some other officer may have stopped her there, but we know it wasn't Daniel. That much we know. But we do know, and she admitted to it, that he had stopped her 2 other times over by the crack house. So ACV, I'm not. Thank you for coming and joining. I think you're listening in on the Foul Play site, and so thank you for that. Are you doing that, Jack? Oh no, who's doing
Oh,
that?
that's my phone. That was my
Oh,
phone. I'm
I
sorry.
was like, no, wait, we're not in Discord. And so, yeah, definitely an interesting connection to Ferguson, and that's what Kay has done. She spent a lot of work and a lot of time and effort, you know, making all these connections about what was going on outside of Daniel's case. Like she said, behind the scenes. But that is definitely it means something. It matters what was going on in the rest of the country where race was concerned.
Well, when I first, it was right after he was sentenced and sent to prison that I listened to his 2-hour interview. And I mean, I was sure that he was innocent and then obsessed with it from then on. But when I tried to talk to people about it and say I felt like he was probably innocent, they would say, why? Why would they frame him? And I could not answer that question for the longest time. And so, I mean, obviously, yeah, you need to try to figure out what is the answer to that.
Right.
And I really think protecting Oklahoma City and all the money they have spent to improve the Bricktown and the river area, just that whole area, I think they really felt like they needed to protect that investment. And it was probably even more clear right now in the timeline as the Ferguson riots are going on, because there had been all kinds of unrest around the country, but really never anything on the Ferguson level.
And Janie Liggins had already been on TV, right?
She was on TV, I think, on June 23rd. So, yeah.
Right. Right. So the allegations were out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did she have, what's his name, the lawyer involved by this time? What's his name?
Are you talking about Benjamin Crump?
Yes.
Yeah, they were already.
I can't remember. I mean, he was there pretty quickly, but I can't remember when. That would be a good thing to figure out and put into the timeline.
Yeah, to put it into the timeline, but Scott Adams talks about it in trial. He asks at least some of the accusers about having gone out and filed a civil lawsuit. during the trial. So it was, and Rocky says in his Notorious, what is that called? Is that what it's called, Notorious?
I mean, that's what we've been calling it.
Oh, maybe that's what we've been calling it. Okay. In his Notorious video, he said that that the day after the trial was over, I believe I'm paraphrasing. The day after the trial, Benjamin Crump comes in and gets with Janie Liggins, and Janie Liggins, he claims that Janie Liggins goes to him and what should I do? What should I do? And he says, Janie, you need to, stay away from that, So, but it's clear from the trial that during the trial, some of these accusers have already, um, started their civil lawsuit. So, let's see here. Under Your Scars, maybe he came across as the new cop on the block. Big guy, maybe a bit arrogant, and a few didn't care for him. Just another option to consider. We have considered that Under Your Scars, or I know I have, but there is no evidence of that anywhere. That he was pretty much. He wasn't like a loner. He wasn't like, not that he didn't speak with his fellow officers or anything, but he didn't really socialize with them, and there may have been some that were jealous because he was on the gang unit much quicker than a lot of the others, who wanted to be. But there's really not been any evidence that we can find that anybody was like, screw this rookie, but he's been in the force 3 years by this time. So, it's I mean, but I'm not saying that's not a good point, because we have thought that over a lot.
But Under Your Scars, maybe it was more the brass that decided to sacrifice him, because, and we're going to see in an upcoming podcast, but he did have several use of force complaints. He was a gung-ho officer. I mean, I'm not saying he was out there beating people up, but because of the area that he worked and because he did have the gang unit assignment, the people that he was coming into contact with, they would fight instead of just placing their hands behind their back to be arrested. So every single time that happened, that's a use of force. Officers who work west side, northwest side, they don't have that many occasions to get use of force violations. But I mean, that's the timeline that we will look at and see if the brass thought, hey, maybe he's a bigger pain in the ass, especially with these charges that we have to fight. Maybe we'll just sacrifice him. Kill two birds with one stone. I don't know. When we look at it, you can decide what you think.
Yeah, we don't know, and all thoughts and theories and considerations are valid. To think, you have to think about everything. You have to consider everything, no matter how bad we think it might be for Daniel and himself or not. But just but I will say this in this comment here, I'm not being defensive, and I'm not, downplaying what you said or minimizing what you said at all. Please don't think that. But Daniel was and is a big guy. He's a big man. But I have never sensed 1 ounce of arrogance in Daniel at all in any letters that I've ever received from him. And in listening to interviews that we have been able to listen to. Arrogance, he was gung-ho, and he didn't sit around in the park. When we were talking about Janie Liggins, I think it was, just when we were reading the trial transcript, the opening statements, And I can't remember which one of the attorneys, if it was Giger or Scott Adams that said it, but he said that it was Giger. He said that Janie Liggins, they all piled into a couple of cars and they went down to Spring Lake Division, knocked on the doors. There was nobody there. They found 3 cops sitting in a parking lot, waiting for a call and just talking, is what Galen Giger said in the opening statement. Daniel
Doing
didn't
what
do
cops
that.
do, he
Doing what
said.
cops do, yeah.
Yeah.
And Daniel didn't do that. He didn't sit around waiting for something to come in. He patrolled. He was constantly community policing. Unless he was filling out paperwork or whatever he needed to do. And it's he didn't do that like other officers did. And there might have been some irritation because he was getting a lot of arrests. He was not accommodated. What's the word? Commended, because he did have so many arrests for such a new officer, and that they were valid arrests. There weren't invalid arrests or anything like that. And so he, and I can imagine that the lazier ones who did sit around and wait for calls, it probably pissed them off, I would imagine, or some of them to a degree.
They could perceive him as arrogant just
Yeah.
by, like, look, he's just trying to show everyone up here.
Yeah.
But really what he wanted was to be able to advance through the ranks as quickly as he could.
Yeah,
That was his
exactly.
goal.
Yeah. She says, under your scar says, I've been around police and security and the gym. I like that too in my working past, but all good. Okay.
No,
Well, yeah,
I have too. Yeah, I understand.
I'm not saying what you're saying isn't a valid point to consider at all. So for sure. Okay, we got through that one. Okay. Oh, this one I feel like we went through this one, but maybe
I
not.
don't think so. This is
Okay.
from Rocky Gregory's report, and he's just listing all of the times that Daniel did a Varuna search on Sherry Ellis and Terry Morris. As noted, Sherry Ellis was found to have been ran by Daniel Holtzclaw 4 times on work shifts. This was during the same 24-hour period that Terry Morris had been sexually assaulted by him. Detective Gregory left for vacation for 2 weeks, and he passed all of his information to Detective Davis, who was working on a related case for victim Liggins. I don't know why that's right there, but Daniel used Varuna to try to learn about these people that he came into contact with. So he would, when he did have idle time, instead of going to a parking lot to talk to cops, he would pull people up that he had been in contact with on Varuna, and you can read all kinds of reports. You can read identifiers about them. You can read field interview cards that other officers or that you have turned in to be entered into the system about them. So you could learn a lot about who their associates were at different times. And he was just trying to make connections. And everything was revolving around the crack houses that he was watching, which Tabitha Barnes was one of those crack houses. So Thursday, August 14th, sex crimes detectives interview Tabitha Barnes at her residence. She cannot stay conscious, so the meeting is cut short and rescheduled. And although, like Bates said in his podcast, I believe they did record that, but she was so messed up that using any portion of that recording would have been better for Holtzclaw than for them. So they just said they didn't record it.
Yeah. I have that feeling too, for sure.
Yeah.
Whoops. What is happening? Oh. What is happening?
I don't know, man. It's all you.
Oh, well, I think there was two. I think that slide was in there a couple times. Susan or Jack, do you want to read? I mean, they're not huge things, but Jack, are you still stuffing your face?
He's taking a nap now.
No, I am done eating. No, I'm not taking a nap.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, okay. From Tim Musney to Rockhead, Gregory, Blinker, Kim Davis, and is it Lieutenant Basie?
It's Captain Basie.
Oh, Captain Basie to you. Okay. Quote, now everything we touch has generated another victim and work, end quote.
Oh yeah. What'd you think? What'd you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, when you go in and tell them that they've been assaulted and get with the program, of course.
When I have to come in here and tell you what happened.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
That's double the work.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Sex crimes detective interview Florene Mathis again, August 14th, 2014.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't remember that.
Well, there is a report, I think, about it. I think they said that, let me try to find this.
Yeah, that's I knew that they went back to the jail and interviewed Rosetta Great a second time.
Okay, so Davis says, I failed to get some background information from Florene when I interviewed her on 8/14. Wait, 8/14. Wasn't she 8/13? She might have written that. I think she made a mistake here because it was 8/13 that she interviewed her, I think. So I obtained that information from her on this date. Florene Mathis is her true name, Lynn Gibson. Her legally married name was Florene McLean. I don't know why this says have any children. I know it's supposed to say she didn't have any children. Obviously, this slide was a work in progress.
Well, we've been, you told me through 195. Do I need to keep going?
It was at 195?
No, this is 189. I just didn't know if, this is just saying what, never mind, just kidding. Okay, because I keep forgetting about the timeline thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, carry on, Jack, please.
Thursday, August 14th, 2014, sex crime detectives show up at Carla Johnson's home and interview her.
On August 15th, there's going to be another victim.
Yeah.
Yep. The 15th, sex crime detectives obtained Florene Mathis' DNA sample from her to match to nothing.
Oh, you know what? She didn't get a buccal swab from Florene Mathis on the 13th.
Or the 14th. So she goes back on the 15th again and gets one.
Huh.
So this
there's no 3
days in a row.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's in the police report or not, but
I know the second one is in the police report. I'm not sure. I'm sure they put in the police report when they got the buccal swabs because that's their evidence. So.
Yeah, especially Kim Davis. Rocky, I'm not so sure about, but Kim would have done it.
Then on the 15th, Detective Gregory returns to Tabitha Barnes' home to continue the interview. She does not answer the door.
Man, I almost can't wait till we get to Tabitha Barnes.
August 15th, sex crimes detective Rocky Gregory interviews Carla Raines at her home. Carla Raines' acquittal allegation solicited on 8/15/2014, court date 3/14/2014.
Yeah, so they were busy on the 13th, 14th, and 15th.
They were. And again, on the 15th, investigators began to present additional charges against Daniel Holtzclaw to the Oklahoma County District Attorney's Office.
Just a couple more here.
Again, on the 15th, sex crime detectives get a buccal swab DNA sample from Carla Johnson. Also on the 15th, sex crimes detectives go to Rosetta Great's father's house, leave a card, and indicate to him that they think his daughter may be a victim of sexual assault by a police officer.
How wrong is that? That
It's
is
inappropriate.
horrible.
It's inappropriate.
So inappropriate. That was 195. Yeah, incredibly inappropriate. Whoops. Remove. Incredibly inappropriate to give that information, and we know of evidence where they did that with Sherry Ellis as well, where Kim Davis did that with Sherry Ellis. And there's other, as we get into some of the others, you'll see that it's a common tactic that they use. Kayla Lyles is another one. And, this gives Adara Gardner was even one, really, if you think about it. But this just shows that they're giving very personal information to people they don't know, that aren't going to have any part of the case. So it's really, really disturbing. And let's see.
Well, that case is not going to build itself. You got to have help from, others.
Yeah, for real. Absolutely. So that is where we're at in the timeline. We can look at the police report.
Do you want to do Cherie's slideshow?
Yeah, well, I don't have that.
It's in the outline I sent to you. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Hang on.
I thought I had it. I looked at all of that.
Well, I guess you didn't. You didn't.
I know. Oh no, you didn't.
Oh no, you didn't look at it all, girl.
I'll get it again and see. Because the one I got was. Hang on, folks. Rhonda
is. You two are funny.
Hey, I put it in the Discord chat.
Oh gosh, that's funny. Okay, so shame on me. Oh yeah, I didn't. Okay, this isn't the one you sent me in that other thing.
Well, I've been known to mess up before. So.
Well, I'm not calling you wrong or nothing like that. I'm just saying you sent me another copy of the master timeline, so I was trying to figure it out.
Well, my copy paster thing was messed up, I guess. I'm gonna have to get maintenance in here. Maybe Joseph Hill will come help me out.
Oh, there you go. Let's see. I gotta figure out if I'm sharing this one. Oh, I am not. Let's kick out that ugly police report. And put in this really pretty. I know that Cherie made this, and not only just because you told me, but because I know that purple happens to be Cherie's favorite color. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah, let's go through this. Susan, do you want to start reading this? Are you able to?
Yes, just takes me a while to unmute.
Okay.
Sorry. Accuser Florene Mathis. Alleged sexual battery, April 14, 2014. Kim Davis and Valerie Homan located their prey. What? August 13, 2014.
Quiet little Cherie who never says anything snarky.
August 13, 2014. First thing that morning, Rocky Gregory finds that Daniel had run Shannon's, a pseudonym name, on Varuna a couple times. Rocky used Varuna information to call Shannon and asked if she knew Daniel and whether she had any problems with him. He did not record the call. Shannon said they had dated for a while, around January and February of 2014, and she had no problems. Shannon is white, from the upscale part of the city, a bikini model and fitness fanatic like Daniel. Notice Rocky does not tell Shannon that they had a tip that she had possibly been assaulted by an OKC police officer.
Because she's not a black female with drug problems.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
That same morning, Kim Davis began her next report. Quote, Lieutenant Musney gave me a list of several females that he wanted contacted because they could be possible victims of Officer Holtzclaw. When he gave me the list, we had still not found a match to the unidentified female DNA found on Officer Holtzclaw's pants. One of the names on that list was 53-year-old Florene Mathis. Davis searched the police database and learned that Mathis was currently being held in the Oklahoma County Jail on a charge of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Davis and Homan drove to the jail, had Florene Mathis pulled from her cell, and then escorted to an interview room. Davis told her that they had a tip that she had been sexually assaulted by a police officer. Florene said yes, but did not remember the date. She was walking, had just left 16th and Jordan, and had been doing crack and drinking. He pulled up behind her on 17th or 18th and Kate, 17th or 18th and Kate, close to a park. It was 6 or 7 p.m., kind of dark. She was wearing jeans, tank top, and a hoodie. He asked for ID, had her sit on curb, runs her name. He asked about drugs and working girls in the area. She said she didn't know. He asked if he had a female searcher. Would there be illegal drugs on her? He was standing facing her. When she went to get up, he reached out to help her, but it hurt her hand because she had just had surgery, so she pulled her hand away. After she stood up, he tried to fondle her breasts on top of her clothes. She did not remember if he was searching her or just reached out to fondle. He stopped when a car went by or someone came out of the house. That's not what she said. He said nothing and let her go. She walked across the park in opposite direction from where she lived with sister on 18th and Everest. She was in jail since July 8 of 2014, awaiting trial for assault with deadly weapon. She did not remember if he tried to get her to touch him. Never saw him again. Description: half Hispanic, muscular, 5'10", 200 pounds plus. Police lights on when stopped, but off during encounter. Dark brown or black, slightly gray, new black police car with white letters. He stopped her before when she was working at Make Ready Remodeling on 16th and Jordan. Stopped her before assault in March or April of 2014. And then December 2013 or January 2014 on 18th and Stonewall. Put her in back seat, had female searcher. Last 2 times she had warrants, city tickets, FTA, and not paying. Told nobody. VH told her she had a good memory. FM said she blacks out, but does not hallucinate. Davis takes some liberties when she claims in her official investigative report that when she asked Mathis if she was ever sexually assaulted by a police officer, Mathis immediately dropped her head and started crying. You can watch the video for yourself. There is zero evidence that Mathis is doing anything other than lowering her head and pausing as she gathers her thoughts. There are no audible sobs, no shedding or wiping of tears. Regardless, Florene Mathis, who is known to go by numerous aliases, claims that while she was out walking and under the influence of crack cocaine and alcohol, she came into contact with patrol officer Daniel Holtzclaw. She claims this was the third time that he had stopped her, and that during one encounter, there was also a female officer on scene. For most of the contact in question, Mathis says she was seated on the curb and that Holtzclaw was outside his patrol car, standing next to her. Mathis claims that nothing inappropriate occurred until she went to stand up. At that point, Officer Holtzclaw offered his hand to help her. Mathis said she had previously had surgery on her left hand and that Holtzclaw's grip caused her some pain, so she pulled her hand away and said she could get up on her own. Mathis is fairly vague on what happened next, but generalized that Holtzclaw briefly fondled her breasts on top of her clothes as she got up off the curb. She claims that he stopped because either a car drove by or someone came out of her house, but she can't remember which. Mathis said the interaction with Holtzclaw ended about that time, and she simply walked away. She stated that since that encounter, she hasn't told anyone and simply was trying to put it behind her. There are a handful of details worth mentioning that, in my opinion, should have caused Detectives Davis and Homan concern as to the truthfulness of Florene Mathis. For starters, Mathis says she has had contact with Holtzclaw on 3 separate occasions. The first contact was allegedly in December of 2013 or January of 2014 near Northeast 18th and Stonewall. This would have been very near Florene Mathis' sister's home. Mathis gave a detailed account of how Holtzclaw had called a female officer to come to the scene to perform a search upon her. At that point, she said that she admitted to the female officer that she had a crack pipe on her and that the officer took the crack pipe and smashed it on the ground. Alleged first stop by Daniel, December 2013 or January 14. Further investigation by Detective Davis revealed that Mathis was either mistaken or outright lying. While a stop did occur in that area and in that general time frame, Holtzclaw was not the male officer involved. The male officer was identified in court testimony as Officer Jones. More importantly, though, there was no evidence that a female officer was ever involved in that stop. March 25, 2014, alleged second stop by Daniel. Mathis said her second contact with Holtzclaw was near Northeast 16th and Jordan and was either in March or April of 2014. Detective Davis researched this alleged contact and did verify that Holtzclaw did stop Mathis on March 25th of 2014. The following is the radio traffic from that stop. Do you have the radio? No?
I
Hello?
think that
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that timestamp must be from Brian Bates' podcast at 28 and 21.
Oh, okay.
And he has the audio, and I didn't. I feel bad. I didn't look at this to. Um, hey, Travis, how you doing? He's over in Foul Plays chat.
Okay,
I didn't look at this because she's talking about Bates's podcast timestamp, and Bates must have the audio on that.
I see.
So anyway, are you still good, Susan, to continue reading?
Sure.
Or okay.
Sure. March 25th, 2014. This stop occurred near Northeast 15th and Jordan. Mathis did have city warrants for her arrest, but Holtzclaw did not ticket her or did not take her to jail. Mathis claims nothing inappropriate occurred during this stop. April 14, 2014. Alleged third stop by Daniel. As for the third encounter detailed by Mathis, the one involving sexual assault, well, that one's a bit more complicated. Detective Davis was able to verify that Holtzclaw did indeed come into contact with Mathis on April 14, 2014 at about 6:30 p.m. The following is the radio traffic from that stop.
Oh, I'm having issues here.
Are we going backwards here? No? Is
No.
that the right date?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
August
so.
13, 2014. As the two sound bites of police radio traffic point out, despite what the prosecution and the media would like you to believe, patrol car GPS was not necessary to pinpoint the dates and locations of Holtzclaw's encounters. He literally called them in with no attempt to hide his activities. Holtzclaw's radio traffic was then compared to his patrol car GPS for confirmation. The third encounter, though, the one allegedly involving the groping of Mathis's breasts, does have some significant contradictory details. Mathis said she had left a residence at Northeast 16th and Jordan, where she had been drinking alcohol and smoking crack cocaine all day. She claimed she was on foot, headed to her sister's house, and had made it either Northeast 17th or Northeast 18th Street and North Kate Avenue. That's when Officer Holtzclaw approached her in his patrol car from behind. There's a huge discrepancy there. According to Holtzclaw's radio traffic and patrol car GPS, Holtzclaw actually stopped Mathis near Northeast 15th and Jordan, or only about a block away from the crack house she said she had just left. That's a huge difference of nearly half a mile. Furthermore, Mathis claims that she was headed west towards her sister's home, which would have only been a couple of blocks from where she claims she was stopped by Holtzclaw. Yet, she says when the stop was over, and just after Holtzclaw had fondled her breasts, she walked in the opposite direction of her sister's residence to a park that was in the immediate area. She then turned around and headed back to her sister's home. There is no park in the immediate area of the Northeast 15th and North Jordan Avenue stop that we know took place with Officer Holtzclaw. But there is the Riley Leroy Pitts Park on the corners of both Northeast 17th and 18th Streets and North Kate Avenue. And that park is directly in the opposite direction of where she was heading, just as she described. However, GPS records don't show that Holtzclaw ever made a stop in the area she is insisting it happened on, 17th or 18th Street just off Kate Avenue and next to a park. This is a huge discrepancy. With the misidentification from the first stop involving an alleged female officer that never actually happened, and now details of the most recent stop that match her description of a location, but not the location where Holtzclaw actually encountered her, this leaves open the very real possibility the event in which she was sexually assaulted actually involved a completely different police officer if the sexual assault actually ever occurred at all. Mathis testified during the trial that she estimates that she had been arrested some 30 times by different police officers and has a lengthy criminal record that includes time spent in prison. Also, Mathis states that Holtzclaw tried to help her up, and he inadvertently hurt her hand and then intentionally fondled her breasts. According to her, she just stood there too scared to say or do anything. Really? She may be 53 years old, but she is anything but meek or timid.
That was my point too. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that was my
Yeah.
thought too. There's no way. There's no way she was afraid. She's too
Assault
hardcore.
with a deadly weapon?
Yeah, and I'm pretty
It's not.
sure. I shouldn't say pretty sure, but if I think can recall that there was actually some assault on peace officers or resisting or something like that.
Several
So,
assault on a police officer
yeah.
charges.
So
Yeah.
she wasn't meek or timid. I agree with Cherie.
I can see why he was acquitted on her.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet every officer that ever tried to arrest her had to file a use of force
Uh-huh.
report.
Probably.
Do you want me to keep going?
If you're okay to, I know I can tell it's a little hard to read from that screen.
It sounds like your clown car is right there to take you to wherever you're going.
Take you to the funny farm.
It's my
You're right
text
here.
notification.
Yeah, if you're fine to keep reading, that would be great.
Okay. She was in jail for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon when detectives first met with her. At trial, it was revealed that Mathis has multiple arrests for not only assault and battery utilizing weapons, but also physically assaulting police officers.
There you go.
In fact, Mathis agreed at trial that she's been arrested in 6 or 7 different jurisdictions for felony assault and battery upon a police officer. Mathis would just stand there while Holtzclaw or any other officer fondled her breasts along the side of a neighborhood street and in broad daylight. What about the timing of the stop she claims resulted in her being fondled? While she does state the time is between 6 and 7 p.m., which matches the time for the Northeast 15th and Jordan stop, she claims that the stop happened while it was kind of dark out. Sunset for that date is recorded as 8:02 p.m. She was stopped a full hour and a half before sunset. It would have still been plenty light out during the time we know Holtzclaw stopped her. Unlike Ligon's, Morris, and Ellis's allegations, Mathis said that at no time was she placed in the back seat of Holtzclaw's patrol car. Instead, she was seated on the curb near his vehicle. And just like the Morris and Ellis stops, Holtzclaw spent a significant amount of time inquiring as to what the women may have known about the criminal activities in the area, specifically prostitution and drug trafficking. Also, contrary to popular myth, Mathis didn't have any active warrants, the same as Morris and Ligon's. Mathis clearly told detectives that she could pick her attacker out of a photo lineup, but as we know, Detective Davis refused to show any accusers a photo lineup after Tara Morris failed to pick him out. Detective Davis's investigative notes reveal that she returned to Oklahoma County Jail the next day. She claims the purpose of that visit was simply to take an oral DNA swab, or buccal swab, of the inside of Mathis's mouth and to get some basic background information, so she didn't bother to record the interaction. You probably recall that Detective Gregory used that same excuse when she returned to visit accuser Terry Morris in jail, and conveniently neglected to record most of what turned out to be a very incriminating interview. At trial, Mathis conveniently claims the groping occurred on the second encounter with Officer Holtzclaw, and not the third, as she stated during this part of the investigation. While detectives, prosecutors, and the media all make a huge deal out of the fact Holtzclaw wasn't arresting these women on their insignificant misdemeanor cost warrants, it was revealed that when Mathis testified in court, she had 10 active felony warrants for her arrest, and no law enforcement officers or detectives had shown any interest in taking her into custody leading up to her appearance in court. And there's something else very significant about the Northeast 15th and Jordan location, where Mathis was twice previously stopped by Holtzclaw. It's actually within just a few feet of suspected crack house that Holtzclaw had been keeping an eye on. And the female occupant of that alleged crack house, she will soon become another accuser. Mathis claims she not only knows this accuser, but she smokes crack with this accuser and worked as her housekeeper at the time. Red flags? Accuser Florene Mathis has misidentified Daniel Holtzclaw as the officer that pulled her over in late 2013 or early 2014. She completely made up details about a female officer being called to the scene. Lastly, during the stop where she says she was groped, she can't remember the date, the month, or really any details of the alleged assault, but clearly states she was on either Northeast 17th or Northeast 18th Street and Cade Avenue, directly across from a park. The problem is that's nowhere near where Detective Davis knows Daniel Holtzclaw actually stopped her. The day after Davis and Homan visit Florene Mathis, Rocky Gregory visits Tabitha Barnes. After a short time with Tabitha, Rocky calls Musney to come to interview. This is August 15th. The next day, after Gregory and Musney's visit with Tabitha Barnes, Katie and BH go back to visit Florene Mathis to get buccal swabs, but supposedly Daniel only touched her on top of clothes. Interview not recorded. No record of Rocky Gregory and Musney asking Tabitha Barnes about drugs, but they have Daniel supposedly asking both Tabitha Barnes and Florene Mathis about drugs.
And that is the end of those extremely informative slides. Thank you,
Yeah,
Cherie. Thank you for reading all of those, Susan.
you bet.
So there you go. That really is the meat and bones of the Florene Mathis accusation. I mean, we could go through the police interview, but really between Kay's timeline and what Cherie has put together, there's really no need because all of the legitimate information has been gleaned from what we know, from what we've, read in the between the police report and the interviews. And I think it's really interesting that Kim Davis said she went back to get background information. Now, when I first read that, I thought, what background? You asked her name, you asked her birthday, but, and this is not in defense of Kim Davis in any way, shape, or form, because I despise that woman, but she didn't ask her any questions about, like she has with other accusers, about, their mental health, or her drug, what kinds of drugs do you use? Well, she did say crack cocaine and alcohol, but normally that's a question that Kim Davis would ask. Do you you know, do you take this medicine for? What do you take? Because she didn't ask her what medication she took, which usually Kim Davis would do. So there's a part of me that it kind of buys that second visit to get background information, but that's it.
Well, I
But
don't
it
care
still
if
should have
she
been
went back
recorded.
to if she went back to get background information, who cares? But here's the problem. You saw in that video interview, in the first interview, that the camera was running, the recorder was running before either one of those, before anyone walked into
Yes.
the interview room. That is at the Oklahoma County Jail. They're set up with audio video recording. All you have to do is push record before you walk into the room. Why didn't she record the second
The
interview as
second
well?
one. Exactly.
Why didn't she interview getting the buccal swabs the next day? So she had 3 contacts with her that we know of and only recorded 1.
Yep.
That's a problem.
It's a huge
My
problem.
my question is, why in the hell did they include this woman? I mean, talk about unreliable and
Mhm.
come on.
Don't you think it's because she was in jail and they figured she
Yeah,
would be one of the easier ones to get to go along because
I guess so. I mean,
she
come
would
on.
she would feel like maybe she'll get something from it. Rhonda, if you
Absolutely.
look her up on OKDOC, it's interesting that there is a mug shot in the timeline, and I think it's October 2014 on the website there, where her mug shots, she's in street clothes and she has a wig on. Rosetta Great has the same thing, and I think it has something to do with them working with the charges on that were pending with those two.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to actually figure it out.
Huh.
What is the website? I'm not seeing OKCOD.
The link is in the outline, but
Oh.
um,
Oh.
if you just Google OKDOC, it'll give you an inmate search option, and it's Florene Mathis.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Or Florence. Just check the box that says other names or close names or aliases.
Inmate or offender lookup. Is that what I'm looking at?
Right.
Okay. Except. You know her birthday offhand, just so I can't
You don't
remember.
need it. It'll
Yeah,
pop
no.
right up if you just
Okay.
put her name and check the boxes at the bottom.
Okay. I've never been to this site before. Oh, there she is. Okay. Yeah, let's, wow. I'm going to share the screen with this. Wow. What were you? Oh my gosh. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Let me get,
Yeah,
instead
please let
of
us.
hoarding it to myself, I'll share it with everybody. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Hold on. Let me figure this out. Oh, for health's sake. Okay, stop sharing this screen. Okay. Department of Corrections. Okay, there she is. Wow, this is going to blow your mind, people. Okay, so.
So first scroll through all of the 20 something.
Hey, everybody.
No, go back up.
Oh, the
See the
aliases.
numbers under the photo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Click
Oh.
on, scroll through those because it gives the date that they were taken.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is
Okay.
after Daniel's conviction.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, she looks awfully thin. What's the date?
That's
Oh,
October
October 11th.
2016.
Looking really thin.
Here's the one I'm talking about, and this is 6/29/15, right before trial. Or I
Mhm.
mean, a few months before trial.
I don't want to be mean, but
Well,
how could
don't
Daniel
be
keep his?
mean.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
meanness.
I mean,
We don't allow it.
how could Daniel keep his hands off of him? I mean,
Stop
God,
it. You
I'm
guys.
Because
sorry.
it's
I, I,
sexual
I'm.
assaults are not about sex, they're about power and control. You
That's
know that,
right.
Jack.
I get that, but please, please,
Jack, just put it up.
I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna mute and show myself to the door.
Nope.
That.
Nope, you don't get to do that. You're stuck with us.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm just gonna mute now.
So the ones right before trial are the only ones where she's in street clothes and she's in a paneled room like she's at the DA's office or something.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, sure
That's
does look
weird.
like it.
What
And
is this?
they got her with some hair, with the wig, like you said, with the wig on, and got her all fixed up.
Incognito.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
she's probably there for trial prep or something. I mean,
yeah, but
Yeah.
still.
because the women said they met several times before trial with the district attorney and
So she wore the wig to trial, I'm guessing,
man, I really don't know.
and a floral dress.
I mean,
Not
that
really
wouldn't have
good
been
style.
trial because that's in June, but or what
Mm.
was it? Yeah, that was in
Yeah.
June.
Well,
We
practice.
needed with some earlier.
Trial
earlier
started early November, I think.
Uh-huh.
And you know, they say how well, of course, this is 2010. Let me get back up here. I mean, in
Look how pretty
2011,
she is. Back up to that one.
yeah,
The
in
previous one. Look
2011,
how pretty she is.
she looked half decent, you know. Let's see, I can't find her now.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I lost her. Oh, there. Yeah, and that was in 2011. She looks just really. I know it's not fair to say, but compared to other pictures, she looks very thin and tweaked out. And that was um, just a few months after the interviews
Hmm.
had taken place.
I think she was still in jail until they needed her for trial and they
Yeah. Wow, this is really interesting. I've never been to this site before.
she looks really old with that wig on. It's weird.
Yeah.
But look
This
at all of her aliases
Oh, it's insane.
over
The
here.
aliases are ridiculous.
Rosetta Wilson.
Oh, wow.
I thought that
Wow.
was
There's
interesting.
also Rosetta Brown.
I see that too.
Wow, that's interesting. Hmm.
And then these are all of her charges. So you can see the 10, let's see, let's find that one that she was in for. 10/1/14 was the conviction date. She got probation for that aggravated assault and battery.
She got 2 year, what is that, 2 years on probation? That sucks. That's
Well,
so wrong.
especially after all these priors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, those are in order, but oh no,
Where
they're
do you
not.
see? Oh, I see. Incarceration.
Yeah.
Incarceration.
P&P sus. I heard somebody pop into StreamYard.
That was battery on a police officer.
Is
I
that
I got
probation
thrown.
and parole suspension?
You
Maybe.
didn't have to leave, Jack. You were
Yes.
kidding, right?
I think
No, I got
think you're
I
right.
got
Kate.
thrown out. I got
Oh.
thrown out.
I'm sorry. It
Throw.
wasn't me.
I know.
I did it.
Wait.
No. Let's see. Now I lost my.
Oh, see, there it is. Pardon and parole.
Hold on. I've lost the.
Suspended.
There we go.
That's
Yeah,
the
pardon
date
and
of that
parole.
picture with street clothes.
It's
So maybe
2020.
she was at the pardon and parole board there.
Oh, the other one.
In
I mean,
2007.
maybe she was at the probation office there. That's what I mean to say. That 62415 PNP SUS, I'm not sure what that means for sure. Probation,
Pardon and parole, or probation,
I
parole, suspension, probably.
don't know. We're just making stuff up
We
now.
are making shit up as we go. That's how we roll.
But that is the same date, 62415 of the photograph in street clothes.
Oh, okay, this one I was like, no, it was 2007, but I see what you're looking at now.
Oh, there's another I see.
Yeah, that's the one I was stuck on.
Yeah.
Incarceration, incarceration, incarceration. 2
You'd think
years.
with all of those that she has, she's not in prison right now either. She's out.
She escaped twice, the 3
Yeah,
times.
she's definitely escaped 3 times.
Damn.
Also, she has a forgery. One of these forgeries, if I'm not mistaken, was that they had no other way to charge her. She had cut off her, was this one, Mathis K that had cut off her ankle monitor? And they charged her with a forgery, probably this forgery of stolen property or something.
Wasn't that?
I mean,
I think that was Terry Morris.
Was it Terry Morris?
Are you
Okay.
thinking about the deposition testimony? Is that where you're getting this
Maybe.
information?
I might be. Yeah, I could
That
be.
if you're thinking of that, that was Morris who said that in her deposition because she
Okay.
was confused about
About the forgery.
the charge.
Yeah.
you know that these detectives looked at this, right?
Of
Oh,
course.
they knew, yeah. But this supports their story for Holtzclaw because their whole deal with him was these are the kind of women he chose these kind of women on purpose.
Yeah,
That's why he
whatever.
was looking at their Varuna to find the ones that were hopeless so that no one would believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the charge was something about theft or something because not forgery for her cutting.
But after that first interview, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I know.
it
Come
was
on.
obvious, but they're also in the timeline. You have to remember they've been told to get more victims. So that
Yeah.
because
Right.
David Prater has said he's not gonna he wants them to go find more victims.
Well, and especially since they hadn't found the DNA match.
Right. And they're too stupid to think logically to go backwards.
Backwards,
The
exactly.
18th. Go in
That-
reverse order with the women that he stopped, and you might actually find it.
Yep.
I mean, you're swabbing someone's mouth who was assaulted in early 2014. Even Sherry Ellis was smart enough to say, well, that was so long ago. Why would
Yeah. And
Well,
then what did Kim
yeah.
Davis say? Well, you never know. He might be nasty and not wash his underwear. What? That's
Yeah,
not what you told Michelle Malkin.
he looks real nasty, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, because his car is just a pigsty.
Well, it
We
was a
weren't
bit.
gonna get any fingerprints from that car because it was such a pigsty inside.
Mhm.
I'm just.
Yeah, it was a pit, but
It has nothing to do with
had
fingerprints.
nothing to do with the inside.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I have never used that site before. Now I got another thing to keep me tied to my computer because I haven't had enough. All right. Well, are there any questions from anybody in the chat? It's been kind of a slow night tonight, and that's okay. Hopefully we can catch some folks on replay. But we're happy to answer any questions that you might have or comments to address any of those from either my chat or from Foul Play's chat. Let's see. I'm going to close some tabs out here because I got a lot. Okay. All right. Well, Susan, do you have anything else you'd like to comment on or say or?
I think I'm good. This has been interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that she's not responsible for years.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, but you know,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly. Neverly, that's what I'm saying. He must be guilty if his car's a pigsty. Exactly. I mean, she said that in a way. Kim Davis
she
did.
did.
She's so
She did.
stupid.
His
So
car's nasty. He's nasty.
yeah,
And that's why there's no fingerprints on the outside.
on the outside of the car.
Yeah.
Well, you can't get both.
Yeah. She cannot wait to read transcripts with Kim Davis. She can't wait. She's
Oh,
excited.
it's gonna be
So
good.
good. I can't wait. I'm sure we're going to be going to our next transcripts will be Janie Liggins, and I haven't looked at how much the cost is for Janie Liggins, but Kim Davis will definitely be um, testifying in Janie Liggins because that was one of her girls. She likes to call them. So she'll definitely be testifying in Janie Liggins. And Kay, get your Kim Davis voice ready because we're going to be doing that hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So
I'll try.
okay, oh, I'm sure you'll be okay. I'm sure you'll do it. Okay, well, thank you so much for reading, Susan. I appreciate you taking all that on.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
Jack, what would you like? And don't ever leave here and act like you're all butthurt because you think we're giving you a hard time. Knock it off.
I didn't. I told you I
Oh,
got
you
thrown
got
out.
kicked out. I wonder
Yeah,
why.
I don't know. It's happened before, not very often, but it's not the first time that StreamYard said, you know what, you need to log back in. Bye.
You've been on too long.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah, I don't know. It's just,
That's bottom hurt, not butt hurt.
it's just,
Oh, sorry. Bottom hurt. Oh, God, I can't say that. That just sounds wrong.
That's Blinky's word, bottom.
Yeah.
Did he touch your bottom?
She has no problem saying vagina or hoo-ha or penis or
Right.
whatever, but when she says that, did he ever touch your bottom? Well, how about did he ever insert his fingers in your anus? I mean, I know that's really bad, but the way she talks, why is she stopping at that? What stopped her from saying that kind of nastiness?
Yeah.
Or your
well,
butthole? I mean, she's just so sick.
sounds like more childlike, you know.
I
Did you touch the bottom? Did they touch you on the bottom?
touch on the bottom. Well, you're not going to catch me saying bottom. It's going to be poop.
No.
It's going to be butthole
Right.
or anus.
I say ass.
Or incher.
Yep.
Ass. Yeah, there you go.
Touch your ass.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, sis, but now that you brought it up.
Can you imagine? Did he touch you on your buttocks? Come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Neverly
I just
remembers about the 14-incher.
Oh my God, yes.
You didn't
thanks,
use
Rocky.
you didn't use the liar button tonight.
Oh shit! Well, I wouldn't. Okay, damn it. I would have never been off the buzzer. I would have been constant.
We would have
Okay,
broke
here's
the
it.
damn thing, Kay.
Okay.
I would have broke. But
How
here we go.
about just put one up for all of Florene Mathis's?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's what we think of Florene Mathis's entire story. There you go.
Yep, covers it for me.
I forgot about that little thing. It took me like 2 minutes to make. Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah, just watching that video we started out on it. I mean, my God, she wouldn't even look up. She's like, the wheels are turning, and what can I come up with? Where's this going to go? Can I get some money from it? I can see the wheels turning.
You could. And to keep her face, again, go along with Cherie's meek and timid, thought, come on. There's nothing meek and timid about her. And the way Kim Davis approached her with like these kid gloves and, I know that sounds horrible, because I understand the reality of victims of this kind of stuff. But Kim Davis knows that Florene Mathis is no weeping willow or shrinking violet or whatever the flowers trees are that go along with that. And she knows that, but she talks to her and is, practically putting her arm around her. Can I just tell you how sick in the very, very beginning of the video that I played when you are all coming in, when she tells Florene Mathis, I received a tip that you may have been sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City police officer. Florene puts her head down to start thinking of what she's going to do and how this can help her. And Kim Davis looks at her for a few seconds, and then she turns around to Valerie Homan and says, "Get a chair." Oh my God. I wanted to cut that out so bad because I can't stand it. It drives me crazy when I hear her say that in that interview. Like, here we go again, get a chair. It's going to be a while. And it was one of the shortest interviews that they did, or at least that particular one. So, fat bottom girls make the rock and world go round. Hell yeah, under your scars. That's why
Aerosmith,
I
Toys
keep
in the
my...
Attic.
No! Whoa, Jack.
What?
That's not Aerosmith. Oh, you just sent a spear through my heart. That's Queen.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I take your word for it.
I'm just crushed. Yeah. Oh, well, it's fine. I don't expect you to know all the same music I know.
I should know
Cherie
that,
is in foul play chat. How are you doing, Cherie? We said all kinds of stuff about you. You didn't hear it? It was all good. We showed the slides, Cherie, that you had made of Florene Mathis, and it was very, very. It was very well put together. Great timeline. We could have just played that, and everything would have been answered just with that. So it was a great job. Thank you so much. All right. So Jack, do you have any last comments or questions or?
Nope,
anything?
I'm good. No,
Okay.
I'm straight.
You're straight? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Kay, anything you'd like to add?
So I guess we're gonna be. Do we have Carla Johnson's interview recorded? I don't remember.
I don't have it recorded. I haven't looked for it, but if I
Okay, well, I guess next week we're going to be talking about Carla Johnson's interview. Everything's coming together all at once here, so we'll just have to go through in a chronological order because all these women are being contacted all at once now. So we've got Carla. We're going to have Carla Johnson, Rosetta Great.
Hers are just nasty. Carla Raines.
Tabitha Barnes.
I think Tabitha's coming up next, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my God. We probably, just so I'm not going for 3 or 4 hours on Tabitha Barnes, I really do want to try to break hers up into 2 episodes because her accusation is insane. It's hard to follow, number one, the way Rocky writes the report and records it. What little bit, he didn't even record her. What the report that he writes is so rocky that it takes a lot to explain her accusations.
How many detectives did they have working on this?
Just those
3.
2. Well, Homan, but she worked with Kim.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
so
we've got Carla Raines coming up next. Carla Raines. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. Well, these are all, see, we have a bunch on the 15th.
Yeah.
We've got Rocky interviewing Carla Raines.
And Tabitha Barnes, or trying.
And Carla Johnson. And then someone goes and talks to Rosetta Great's dad, which that's not recorded, but there should be a police report. Anyway, we'll just continue through the timeline, and whatever is happening next, we'll be digging into that.
Yep. Absolutely.
How
Okay.
long did
well,
they have from the first, from the time they arrested him to trial? How long was that?
So they arrested him on August 20, was it 2nd or 4th?
21st or 22nd.
Something like that, yeah. And then trial started the next year in November. So it was quite a while.
A little over a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just a reminder, in case I haven't said it before, 3 months in September of 2015, actually 2 months, really, before trial started, Galen Gigger goes back to the crime lab and tells Elaine Taylor that he wants a swab of the inside of the fly of Daniel's pants. And that was where the alleged DNA was found. Not until 2 months before. Well, that's not true.
No, it's not
They
true.
knew, yeah, they knew that before. But he wanted, so there's like Dr. Silkman said, there's 17-1, 17Q, 3, and 4. 17Q, 3, and 4 are, yeah, were
Are
not
the inside.
found until they did that second swab in September, just before trial started. So, and he's
I
got,
think he was just hoping to get some of Carla Rain's DNA from the inside, or maybe just anyone that
Any-
Taylor
he
Lyle.
had contact with there on that last day
Yeah.
wearing those pants. And you know, the inside of the pants, that sounds way more rapey and horrible than the outside of the pants. And he's all about putting together a good story, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem is, he doesn't tell it very well, as we've witnessed in the transcript of opening statements. So,
well, it's interesting to listen to people talk about what an amazing prosecutor he is. And maybe that's just because he doesn't give a fuck if he
maybe.
lies, or he'll do whatever he has to do to get the conviction.
He really
Obviously.
will. He really will. And you know, if folks that are still in the chats haven't watched them yet, I have 2 or 3 videos on Galen Gigger and his lies. Some of them one of them may include a story about his son. And I'll just kind of, just to give you a little bit of a, so Galen Gigger is this big sex crimes advocate for, you know, victims of sex crimes and everything, which is, hey, you know, we need that. That needs to be a thing. But I don't think Galen Gigger was the one that should have been doing it just because he's an idiot. Number 2, there is a pretty serious accusation still out there in the air, floating, about his own son having sexually assaulted 3 teenage girls when he was about, I think, started when he was 15 or 16.
That David Prater helped cover up.
Yes. So just if you're just looking for a little bit more to watch on my channel, they're in a playlist. And I think there's 3 of them in that playlist for Gigger. So you check him out just so you can get an idea of what a pig he is. He's just a pig. That's a word I reserve for people that I just think are horrible and ugly and filthy people, individuals. And so go check those out I'm horrible about getting my own links to my own stuff from my own channel, and Catnet is very busy doing another project, and so she's not here to grab those links for me in 30 seconds. But I mean, they're just things you can check out to learn a little bit more about Gigger. Like I said, the Liggins transcripts, I think, are the next ones that we're going to be doing, because she's the first witness called, and I'm hoping that my hope is that in the next 2 weeks, we'll be able to have those. So, if that's all that everyone has, I think we have covered Florene Mathis as effectively as we really possibly can. I hate this phrase when I hear other people say it, but I'm going to use it right now. Her story is really a big nothing burger, in my opinion. So, the next one will be like, what did you say? Which one, Kay?
I think it'll either be Johnson or Raines.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Barnes is in there too. They're all on the same
They're all
days.
on the same day, yeah. Well, we'll just see. We'll just, yeah, we'll figure it out, and we'll come back with one of those three for sure next week. And unless there's any other questions or comments, and nobody else on the panel has anything left to say, we will see you next week. Peace out.